Okay, in this video we're going to look at 3D printing some parts for my truck, for my Ford F100. That's right, you heard it right, 3D printing parts. And here they are. Here's, they're made from these are resin printed. I don't have an FDM printer, which is the one you see that uses the spool. This is printed actually from resin, from a resin vat. I'm not here to tell you how to 3D print. I'm not that person. I'm still learning 3D printing. I'm no expert. Don't pretend to be one, and probably not going to be one. So if you want to learn 3D printing, I'm not the guy to watch. There's lots of videos on YouTube about that. So I'm just being honest with you. Don't come to me for that. I'm just showing you what I did. I designed these in SolidWorks. Again, I am not going here to tell you how to use SolidWorks. I used AutoCAD products for about 30 years or so at my job, and I changed jobs, and I don't have access to AutoCAD anymore. So now I'm using SolidWorks. Luckily, SolidWorks sells a maker's license. It's pretty affordable. I don't remember the exact amount I paid, but it was less than $500. It was way less than that. It might have been $100 a year. I can't remember exactly. But they call it I believe they call it a maker's license. And it's basically for people like me who are hobbyists at home and need to design stuff. And SolidWorks is a full-featured, real-world program. I think has some limitations in the maker's license, but it's still, you can still design 3D stuff with it. I designed this in it. Now, I'm still learning SolidWorks. It's not AutoCAD, and I also used to use Pro E. SolidWorks is not those programs. The concepts and what you're doing is the same, but the way to go about it, if you've ever used CAD programs, there's certain ways you have to go about doing stuff, and if you don't do it right, it doesn't work. I still get real frustrated with SolidWorks. It still aggravates me quite a bit. But as you can see, I've gotten, I'm making progress. I'm printing car parts, or actually parts for my truck. This is one of the air conditioner vent ducts. It goes on top of the evaporator. I've got a vintage air set up, and I'll get a picture of it and put it in here. I've got a vintage air set up that has the 3 ports on top of the evaporator. They're oval shaped like this. So I designed this and printed this. So basically it sits on top of the evaporator, and the 2-inch hose goes right here. Now how this all started was, I made a prototype several years ago here. It's fiberglass. I took a piece of ABS, this is 2-inch ABS pipe. I took fiberglass and made this prototype. This has been, golly, 3-4 years ago. So that's one of them. The vent next to it, in other words, this would be the middle vent. The vent next to it is this one, because it sits here and it has a 2.5-inch turn down, which is this 2.5-inch pipe that I bought, ABS pipe, glassed it in. So basically it's set like this, not the right angle. And then a couple of years ago, I finally bought my first 3D printer, which is this one, this little resin printer. And I bought it specifically. I do modeling sometimes. I bought it to make model parts, and in the back of my mind I thought, what if I could make parts for a truck, for a car, automotive stuff. They wouldn't melt and whatever. So I went through a couple of 3 different designs, a couple different types of resin. There's a resin, let me grab the bottle. It's from a company called Soraya Tech. It's called Build, I think is what they call it. All these resins have different properties, different strength properties, different heat properties. Soraya Tech especially, my 3D printer is what is it? I forget the brand, Anycubic. Yeah, you can see the name right there. Anycubic, they have their own brands of resin. They're just like your basic entry-level resin. They work for lots of stuff, but for stuff more specialized, especially stuff that needs to be high heat, high strength, I got online, did a lot of reading, and this Soraya Tech resin was one of the ones that lots of people were recommending. Now it's not like ABS. In other words, there's not a ABS resin that I know of you can print of in a 3D in a resin printer. They've got ABS for the FDM printers, the ones that use the spool. Most of y'all have seen 3D printers. I've seen the ones with the spool that the little spool spools off. I bought one of those last Christmas. Haven't even put it together yet. Shame on me. I just haven't had time. And I intend at some point to print ABS with that printer. It's a big bed. It's much bigger than this one as far as the amount of size it'll print. So I intend to print with that eventually. I just haven't got around to it. So now what I've done, this is printed with this resin, like I was saying, the Ceratec build resin. So this is, I still have to, what I've done now is designed this vent, a new version of this. I'll go show you on the computer. That's what's printing now. Well, kinda. This thing is too big, or the design I came up with is too big for this printer. This is a pretty small bed in this printer. This part here barely fits it as far as the width and the height and all. Well, actually that's not true. It's got a fair amount of room left. But this one here has to be a lot wider because it goes into this 2.5 inch pipe. And basically this one's just not big enough. So what I'm doing, I'm printing as much of it as I can, just because I'm in a hurry. I want to see this thing work. Again, I haven't printed anything now almost a year. I printed these, golly, way over a year ago. I've had them sitting outside, in case you're wondering. I've had them sitting outside in the hot July sun, and they haven't deformed or anything. So this resin here is pretty good stuff. Now we get it inside an enclosed car where it gets to be 110, 120 in the summertime. You know, it might actually melt. I won't know till I try that one day. I should probably take it outside and put it in like an enclosed vehicle or something and try it. But so far, this appears to be really good stuff as far as my application. So anyway, I'm printing the one to replace this now, although it won't be a complete. I actually just ordered a bigger printer. Looked like I didn't need another printer, but I ordered it anyway, so I can print the much bigger piece. And then there's a third vent I've got to design that goes over here. Has to turn 90 degrees to my other AC duct port vent. I'll show more about that too. That's a rag. I'll show more about that too when I get outside. But this is the printing stage. So we got this one with a 2.5 inch hose, this one behind it with a 2 inch hose, and then that one will sit here pointing to the right, which will catch my vent in the dash. Starting to make a little bit of sense. When you see them all, you'll get. This one, like I said, is not done because I'm missing the pipe extension. But that one will sit here. So basically, what this is a 2 inch pipe. The bottom where it fits the evaporator. This is a what do they call it? Can't think of the word. Support. Thank you. This is a support for resin printing. Again, this is not about teaching you how to print. You have to use supports or stuff won't print right. I got a failed one where I tried to do it without supports, and this is what I got. So again, I'm not trying to teach you how to print. I'm just telling you. Anyway, that'll be cut off. And if you haven't noticed, I even put a barb around the outside of it. You can see it on this one here to help hold the holes on. And when I'm finally finished, I'll actually put a screw clamp on, a radiator style clamp around here if I think I need it. So that's the one I just printed. It's in there on the machine. I got to go get it off and clean it up. So when I get that done, I'll come back and show you one more time. And this 3D printing stuff's probably kind of boring to most of you, but for the guys who actually are interested in this stuff, I think it's pretty cool. I'm printing my own car parts with a 3D printer. How about that? Alright, a little more about the 3D printing. Get a light going. Come on, light. This is a resin printer, as I mentioned. It prints upside down. I'm not going to try to teach people how to print, so don't think this is what this is for. I'm just telling you. It's a resin printer. It prints upside down. So I just printed one of my vent, new design. Okay, here it is off the printer. I had a little boo-boo. Had a little boo-boo right here. I've been having a couple of, this is my second print in a row that I've had a small issue with, when I haven't had any issues. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Maybe there's some dirty areas. You know, again, I'm not trying to go into why or how. Just my new printer's coming tomorrow. I hope it won't be doing this. Anyhow, so picture the evaporator. As I said, this is how they sit. So that's the way it's going to look. When I get them outside, get everything finished, I'm sure I'm going to reprint. I'm probably going to reprint this one. I know I got to reprint this one because it's not finished. This one is done. I've already had it on the truck several times. When I get a full set printed, I'll come back and show you. Again, I'm not trying to teach people how to 3D print. That's a whole other world, and I am not that good at it. I'm just getting my feet wet, dabbling in some car parts. But there they are. That's AC vents, 3D printed. That's pretty freaking cool. I've got more to make still. I've got the ones for the outside vents and the one for the center. So when I get everything printed and get it in the truck, I'll show you in its final placement. All in all, I'm tickled pink with this project, this 3D printing project. This has been, these vents, this vent project has been in the work of duct. I guess I should call it ductwork, ducts. This project has been in the works now for 3 or 4 years, going all the way back to my first prototype with the fiberglass, which I thought I had one sitting here. Yeah. Going all the way back to this, my first prototype, which now will be replaced by that. Come a long way, baby, as they say. Anyhow, when I get everything printed and put it in the dash, I will show it to you. Alright, in my truck I have a vintage air unit. I forget what it's called. Compact Mini, Mini Compact. It's not the Sure Fit. It's not the one, you know, made to be a direct bolt in. I'm not even sure they make a Sure Fit for this model truck. I think this is called the Compact Mini. It's basically a universal design. These are the outputs for the air, heat and air to the cab. The defrosts are back here. Now these are some things I made years ago out of fiberglass. I actually wouldn't mind reprinting both of these, but they work, they're in place. Chances are I won't redo these. Oh, the light just moved the light. Sorry about that. So, come on, light. These are the 3 vents. So they've got an rectangular oblong shaped duct. And I'm sure many of you who have tried to use this system and have used it have had to take the round hose and put it on the square or oblong port. And if you can guess, that doesn't work very well. Now I bought a better hose than what comes in the kit. I think this is Dayco. I think Dayco. I had to look at the box. I don't have the box in front of me. I believe this is Dayco, D-A-Y-C-O hose. It's got steel, you know, like radiator hose. It's got steel rings in it. It's a much better hose than comes in that kit. So I knew there was no way I was going to be able to put that hose on these ports, even though the stock hose. So years ago, I made my first prototype, which was basically out of fiberglass, completely from scratch. Bought a piece of 2.5 inch elbow. I made this up from fiberglass from scratch, and it fit. Well, it fit this vent here, port there. I made another one, which the prototype is here somewhere, but I don't know where it's at. And they worked, and they was going to work fine. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I bought a resin printer. I build models sometimes, ship models, wooden ships specifically. So I bought it to make parts and jigs and stuff for my modeling. Would never have any intention of making any kind of part for an automobile. And then I got to reading online and learning about these different resins. They have a resin, they call it, I've talked about it before, it's called an engineering resin. It's a much stronger, much higher temperature, you know, that it'll take before it starts to melt and yada yada yada. Anyway, so once I found that resin, I decided, you know what, I'm going to design up some parts for this AC vent, see if I can do it. So there's one, which is this one, and then this one, and the other one is somewhere. Oh, here's another one. So let me put them on and I'll show you. Hold on a second. I'll try and do this with one hand, but I'm not going to say it's easy. So that's, the first one goes over here. That's a 2.5 inch port pointing straight down. There's going to be 2 AC vents here. That 2.5 inch port is going to feed these 2 vents here. Then I've got a vent over here that I've been showing, I'm working on. I got a port there, port here. So those are going to be 2 inch holes. So this one goes in the middle, right here. It'll go up and over. You can see it goes up and over that one. And then this one, I'm going to do this with the other hand, goes on here. And it's a little bit of a snug fit. These ports aren't, the ABS ports on the evaporator aren't perfectly formed. They're, you know, they've got some, they're not perfectly formed, we'll put it that way. So this one goes to the right, 2 inch hose here. It'll circle back around and come in right here. Now the other part that I haven't showed yet, where's the vent? This is the round vent, and you've seen me work on this hole before. That goes in that hole right there. And I can't do this with one hand, so you're going to imagine. This is a ring that I threaded that'll go on back of here, thread on, 2 inch hose. So the 2 inch hose will go from here into that port, and the same on the other side. Same thing will go over there, come across, and that's that hose right there. Let me see if I can do this where you can see. I got the camera in my lap, and I'm trying to see what the heck I'm doing here. So here's the ring. It's threaded, and this screws on there. So it threads on and screws it to the dash. Basically the same thing that this is a vintage air duct vent. They have a little collar that basically the same idea. I don't even have it out here. It screws on and gives you a 2.5 inch hole. But I want a 2 inch hole. If they had had a 2 inch version, I probably would have used theirs. But I wanted to cut down to 2 inch. Hence the reason I made my own. Because theirs just, like I said, 2.5. So, like I said, that'll be in there. And then those are my ductwork vents. Ductwork, I guess you call them vents. So that's 3D printing. I used this engineering resin by a company called Soraya. I think it's SA. I'll try to put a note in the description. SAR something. Soraya Tech. They called it, I think, Build. It's an engineering resin, like I said. It's like 74, 75 degrees Celsius. It was like 160 degrees Fahrenheit before it'll start to melt. That should be able to work in a car just fine. I know for the FDM printers you can get ABS, which is probably the best stuff to be using. I've got an FDM printer, but I haven't even set it up yet. So one of these years I would like to try to print this stuff in ABS. But for now, I'm certainly going to go with this. And if it melts on me down the road one of these years, I'll have learned a lesson. But for now, I'm using these. I'm also in the process, you can't see, I'm also in the process of redesigning, I think I talked about it before, redesigning the defroster vent, because the way it fits in here, it doesn't really fit that great. It fit okay. If I can redesign it a little bit and make it fit better, I'm certainly going to do it. The other one is in the back there, you saw a bit of a while ago. Let's see, hang on, I'll pull this off. This is the other defrost vent. It fits right down on top of the evaporator with a fiberglass, basically an adapter I made. I think it would be hard to redesign that. Now I might could 3D scan it. And then do it. And I bought an inexpensive 3D scanner here last year to try for some other stuff. I may actually get brave at some point see if I can 3D scan it and redesign it and then print it out. If I can, I'll do it. I'm definitely going to try to do the one for the other side, but it's just a vent that hangs down with an open port. So it doesn't have to, you know, it's not a fixed mount on both ends like that one is, which makes it a lot harder to do. This angle vent for the other side, I may reprint it just for the heck of it. If you noticed, I put rings on all my ports, like a catch ring, so that hopefully the hoses won't slide off. And I'm gonna try to clamp a hose, over here. I just noticed I printed this one backwards too. The ring is supposed to be closer to the edge. Dadgummit, I thought I fixed that. Oh well, I think I probably printed the wrong file. Well, you can see on the other ones. Where's my other one? Well, even this one's kind of far back. Oh well, I guess I've made some boo-boos here. Although there's room for a clamp back here for sure. This one I know I pushed out. I can see it, and I think I pushed that one out. Anyway, just little boo-boos I didn't even know I had made till just now. So you caught me. But that's that. That's 3D printed parts for an automobile, for a car, for a truck. How about that? So anyway, that's all for this video. Like I said, I'm not trying to show you how to do this, how to print it, how to design it, or anything. I'm not that guy. I'm just showing you what I did. If any of y'all are interested in these things for your own vehicle, you know, I could be talked into selling some. I don't know if anybody would even be interested. Is there a market for this? I don't have a clue. This not even behind my reasoning for doing this. But if somebody needed some of these things to get them out of a jam or to help them out, I'd probably consider selling some. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not giving this design away. I'm just not gonna do it. It's not smart business. So you can curse me if you want, but anyway, enough of that. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Maybe you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the little notification bell. And be sure and watch for the next video coming out. It's going to be over I don't know what the heck. So y'all come back now. You hear?